Have you ever had a moment where the realization of something hits you different than before and it changes everything? It's one of the greatest feelings ever. In this channel, we like to capture life and we capture the moment. I believe in you. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Capture the Moment. So I've done this video a few different times trying to figure out what I was going to say and what I was supposed to say, and I've wrote down notes and I have all this other stuff, and I recorded it 2 or 3 times, and it just didn't feel right. And I had this scenario that I had told about a drawbridge and a train and all this other stuff, and it just didn't sit right, and it didn't feel right how it was recorded or anything like that. So we're going to do something different, along the same concept almost, but I'm not going to go off my notes or anything like that. I'm going to go off of what I feel in my spirit, what I feel in my heart. And a few weeks ago or something like that, I'm not sure how long ago it was, I was in my worship time and in my prayer time, and we think about things all the time. We think about the same thing, over and over, and our thoughts on it never really change or whatever. But when you think about something and it finally kind of just clicks and you understand, and there was a moment where I was in my, private time. I was worshiping God, I was listening to music, and I was praying, and all these different things in my room. And I felt him speak to me, and he said, I want you to think back to your deepest, your darkest time when you thought nobody cared, nobody wanted you around, nobody paid you any attention, you were living in sin, you were doing all these things, you weren't living the way you should be, and you were basically living for the world, you were chasing after all these other things. And he says, think back to that moment, into that pit that you were in. I know it can be hard sometimes. And he says, think about all that stuff that you were feeling in that moment. And he said, I knew all that stuff in the beginning. He said, but I still chose you. I still chose to go on the cross and to take on the sins of the world because I saw you in that moment and I couldn't let you stay there. And that's what he does for everybody. We all get to a point, or we've all had that point, where we get so far into darkness and so far into the sins of this world and so far into the world and so far into all these other things that are not of God, that are not meant for us to live. And he still saw us in those moments. And he still said, I still want her. I still want him. Knowing all of the things that we have done and had done and said, and he still went on the cross, and he still died for our sins because he wanted to give us a chance. And he said, I even knew, he's like, they might not even accept me. He's like, they might not even come to me. He's like, but I still want to give them the chance because I love them enough. I love them so much. I want to give them a chance. I don't want to see them stay where they're at. I don't want to see them stay in the pit and stay in the darkness. So he went on the cross and he died for our sins. But God still cared enough, and he still loves us enough that he sent his son in our place so we could have a way out. So we can come to Jesus And he can wrap his arms around us and pull us out of the ugliest, darkest pit you could think of. And when I thought about it, and it clicked, of no matter what I've done in my past, the things that I've done in my past, he already knew it. He already knew that I was going to do those things. He knew probably didn't deserve, to have a chance at a second life, to be able to come to him. But he did it anyway, because he loved me. Because he didn't want to see me stay there. He didn't want to see me die in darkness. He didn't want to see me lay down and just give up. He saw me in the middle of all that. And he said, I still want her. I still choose her. I'm going to do this for her, so she can have that second chance. So she can freely come to me with everything that she's done, all the crap that she carries, the baggage that she carries. And she can freely come to me and let me take everything. And he said, I'm even still going to do it, even though there may be a chance that she doesn't accept me. He has seen all of our dark pits, the hell that we've been through, the things that we've done in our life, the things that we've done against him, said against him, all these other things. He's seen all that. He already knew all that before he sent his son to the cross. And he said, I have to do this because I can't stand to see them in this pit. I want to give them a chance to come out of it, even though they may not take it. They may still reject me and not want anything to do with me, but I'm still going to reach my hand out. I'm still going to be there if they decide they want it. And that's what it means to me when Jesus died on the cross. Yes, he died for all of our sins. But for me personally, that's what that means. He's seen me and all that hurt and all the brokenness, and he still gave his life so that I could have a chance at finding my own and finding it through him, knowing that he is going to go through the worst pain and the worst torture that he has ever been through. But he's still going to do it because he loves me enough. Because he doesn't want to see me in that pit, in that darkness. And he did it even though that there was a chance that I may never want him, or may never ever take his hand when he reaches it out. And when you realize that, it changes everything. My perspective on everything has changed. My mind has changed. My heart has changed. And yes, by all means, I am not a perfect person. I mess up every single day. But I ask God to forgive me, and I try to not do those things anymore. And I remember there was a moment. I was at work, and there was things that were going on. And I asked, God, where are you? And he said, I don't know, where'd you put me? Because we put so many things above him and before him. Our job, our friends. I've done that a lot. Our finances, done that a lot too. But we put all these things in front of God, in front of Jesus, before him. And we go to him when we need something. And then when things are good, we forget about him. But putting God first, putting Jesus first above all else, above everything else, it's hard because, we're human, we're flesh. We try to do things and try to put things and try to go before God and take control of it. And I'm learning to put God first, to put Jesus first, and everything else falls into place. But you are here for a purpose. God is always going to be here. Jesus is always going to be here for us. His hand is always reaching out. He's waiting for you to take it. And we are living in a world that tells you all this other stuff, the money, the fame, all the stuff can fix your problem and make you feel better and make you happy. And they're telling you you don't need God, that you don't need Jesus. And we're still chasing something because we think the material thing, the money, the fame, the job, the friend, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, whatever it is, we think that thing or that person is going to fill that hole. And maybe it does for a moment. But the only thing that can completely fill it is Jesus, is God. That is the only thing that will ever fill that void that we have. And we know it's there because we're chasing the next thing. We're chasing something. It's called a God-sized hole for a reason. Because only God can fill it. God is enough. Jesus is enough. And when you put everything that you have and all your trust and everything that you are into Him, into who He says you are, life looks a little different. Yes, we go through hard times. We still go through difficult times. We're not exempt from life. We're not exempt from the world because we follow Jesus. The only difference is that when those things happen, when life happens, because life is hard, it'll always be hard. But when those hard moments come, and if you know Jesus and you know who God is, it makes it a little bit easier because you can go to Him and tell Him everything that you're feeling and say, help me through this. Give me your strength, give me your peace, and give me your joy. The peace that surpasses all understanding. The joy in the morning. The strength that we can only get through Christ. Because He is worth it. He is worth it more than anything in this world. All these things, the material things, the money, the relationships, the friendships, the jobs, whatever it is, that is all going to disappear at some point. But Jesus is always going to be there. He is never going to leave. He's never going to forsake you. And He loves you to the point that He died for you. So, what are you waiting for? His hand's been reaching out, waiting on you. Why are you waiting to take it? You've been trying this, doing this life thing for how many ever years now, and you feel like you get to a point where nothing else is working. Nothing else is feeling that void. You've known His hand's been there. You've known His hand has been reaching out to you. But you keep kind of just brushing it away because this other stuff, you think this other stuff will fix it. Only Jesus can fix it. Don't wait. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not even promised 5 minutes from now. Don't wait to reach out and take His hand and to let Him guide you through this thing called life. It is the greatest thing you will ever do. Yes, there are hardships, and yes, there are hard times. But in Jesus, in God, there is still joy in the hard times. There is still strength in the hard times. There is still perseverance in the hard times. And there is still victory in the hard times. Thank you for watching. Have a great Friday. We've made it to Friday. Have a great weekend. And remember, you are loved beyond anything that you can imagine. And his hand is always reaching out. Don't ever forget that. But don't wait to grab it. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Love you guys.